It was a day Amara had dreamed of her whole life, the day she would marry Michael. Her wedding day, the happiest moment she thought she'd ever experience. She had prepared for this day for months, maybe even years. The white dress, the guests, the music, everything was supposed to be perfect. But little did she know, the truth about her fiancé was about to change everything. Amara stood in her room, gazing at her reflection in the mirror. Her dress was sparkling white, the kind of dress every bride imagines when they think of their wedding. She could hardly believe this was real. She was about to marry Michael, the man she loved more than anything in the world. But there was something she didn't know, something dark. Something that would turn her dream day into a nightmare. The sounds of the hotel buzzed around her. The chatter of excited guests, the clinking of glasses, and the distant music all reminded her that her big day had finally come. But she wanted to do something special, something unexpected before the ceremony. She wanted to surprise Michael, to see the look on his face when he saw her in her beautiful dress, with a smile. Amara picked up her bouquet and quietly stepped out of her room. She walked down the hallway, her heels clicking softly on the polished floor. The hall was empty, and the soft glow of the chandeliers above made everything look magical. She reached Michael's door and stood there for a moment, ready to knock. But as she reached for the door handle, she paused. Something didn't feel right. She heard voices, his voice. Michael was talking, but it wasn't his normal, happy voice. It was low, secretive, like he was saying something he shouldn't. Amara, her heart racing, leaned in closer to the door. She could hear him laughing, and her curiosity grew. She wanted to know what he was saying, but what she heard next would haunt her forever. Yeah, she'll die soon. The pill will shut her down before or after the vows. It doesn't matter. Michael said, his voice full of excitement. Once she's gone, everything she owns will be ours. Just make sure she takes that last pill before the ceremony. Amara's world froze. Her heart stopped beating. Her legs turned to jelly, and she couldn't move. The bouquet fell from her hand and hit the floor with a soft thud. The sound echoed in the silence, but Amara didn't notice. Her body went cold, and her mind raced. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her Michael was plotting her death. She leaned back against the door, her mind spinning. Michael had been poisoning her. He wanted her dead so he could take everything she owned, her money, her property. And it wasn't just him. One of her bridesmaids, someone she trusted, was helping him. Amara's breath caught in her throat. She wanted to scream, but no sound came out. She felt like she was drowning in a sea of shock and disbelief. The man she had planned to spend her life with, the man she loved, was betraying her in the most horrible way possible. Without thinking, she turned and ran. Her heels clicked loudly as she stumbled down the hall, her gown flowing behind her like a ghost escaping from danger. She had to get away. She had to find someone who could help her. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't think. She just had to run. Her father, her stepmother. They were the only ones she could trust now. With all the strength she had left, Amara rushed down the staircase. Her dress caught on the stairs, and she nearly tripped, but she didn't care. She had to keep moving. The world around her felt blurry, and her heart pounded in her chest. She could barely see through the tears filling her eyes. Every step felt like it took everything out of her. Her body was weak. The lights above flickered. Her vision was fading, but she kept pushing forward. When she reached the door to her father's room, she could barely open it. Her hands shook. As she gripped the doorknob, she pushed the door open and staggered inside. "Dad! Mom!" she gasped, her voice shaky and weak. Her father and stepmother jumped to their feet, panic in their eyes. They saw her stumbling into the room, her gown spilling out on the floor like a sad broken flower. Her makeup was smeared, and her face was as pale as death. "My daughter, what's wrong?" Her father cried, grabbing her shoulders to steady her. They want to kill me," Amara whispered, her voice trembling. Her father's face went Pale, who wants to kill you?" His voice was full of fear. Amara tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come. Her body was going numb, and her vision was slipping away. She didn't have much time. The only thing she could do was tell them the truth before it was too late. It's Michael," she managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. He's been poisoning me. It's planning to kill me. It's one of my bridesmaids. Is helping him." The world seemed to close in around her as she collapsed into her father's arms. Her strength was gone. Her body felt lifeless. She couldn't keep her eyes open anymore. "Amara! Amara!" Her father cried out, shaking her. Gently. But Amara didn't respond. Her body went limp, and her breath came in shallow gasps. The hallway outside the room echoed with voices. The guests were starting to gather, panicking at what was happening. But Michael appeared, pushing through the crowd, his face twisted in. Fake concern. "My love, what happened to my bride?" He shouted, dropping to his knees beside her, pretending to be devastated. But inside, his heart was not breaking. It was racing with excitement. His plan was working perfectly. He had orchestrated her death, and now all he had to do was play the role of the grieving husband. Amara's body was gently lifted from the floor, her gown dragging behind her like a trail of sorrow. The guests gathered at the doorway, some crying, some confused. No one knew what had really happened. Not yet. Michael stood in the background, pretending to be heartbroken. His hands trembled. But it wasn't from Firette. Was from the thrill of his plan succeeding. He had done it. He was going to get everything he wanted, as Amara was carried to the car. Her father and stepmother followed, hearts pounding with fear. The car sped off towards the hospital, and the guests followed in a line behind them, unsure of what was happening. All they knew was that the bride was in trouble, but Amara was still alive. She wasn't dead. Not yet. And she wasn't about to let Michael get away with this. The night was dark, the hospital lights flickering in the distance like stars in the sky. Inside the sterile emergency room, Amara lay unconscious, her body hooked up to machines, breathing shallow, her heart barely beating. Her mind, however, was alive and racing. She wasn't dead. Not yet. She had faked it. She had to. It was the only way to catch Michael and the traitor among her closest friends. She played dead. She would see who would celebrate her death, who would run, and who would show their true colors as the machines beeped slowly around her. Amara lay still, pretending to be unconscious. Her eyes were closed, but her mind was wide awake. She could hear the distant sound of voices outside, the soft shuffle of nurses and doctors as they moved around her. The cold, sterile room felt suffocating, but it wasn't the room that worried her. It was what would happen next. Michael, the man she had once loved, was somewhere out there. He thought he had one. He thought she was gone. But Amara wasn't going to let him get away with it. She had been poisoned, yes, but now it was her turn to turn the tables. As hours passed, Amara's body began to show signs of life. A small twitch in her fingers, a flicker in her eyes. Slowly, her chest began to rise and fall more regularly. She wasn't just waking up, she was coming back to life with a mission. She wasn't going to let Michael win. She was going to get justice for herself and expose his betrayal in front of everyone. The door to her room opened. Dr. Allen, her private physician, stepped in. He was an older man, calm and collected, with kind eyes that had always reassured her, but today those eyes were full of concern. "Amara." Dr. Allen whispered softly. "Amara, can you hear me?" Amara's eyes fluttered open, her vision blurry. She blinked a few times before focusing on his face. "Yes," she whispered, her voice weak. "I can hear you." Dr. Allen's face softened, but he didn't let his guard down. "How do you feel?" I feel like I'm dying," Amara replied, her voice hoarse. She paused before continuing. "But I'm not dead, doctor." "Doctor?" Allen's eyes widened slightly, his face turning serious. He knew something was wrong, but he wasn't expecting this. "Tell me what happened," he said gently, pulling up a chair beside her bed. Amara took a deep breath, her mind spinning with everything she had learned. She needed to tell someone, and Dr. Allen was the only one she could trust. She couldn't let Michael get away with what he had done. "I overheard Michael talking," Mara began, her voice trembling. "He was planning to kill me. He said I would die before or after the wedding. He didn't care when, just as long." As I was gone, Dr. Allen looked shocked. "Are you telling me Michael planned to murder you?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Amara nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. "Yes, he's been poisoning me. He wants my money, my property. And one of my bridesmaids, someone I trusted, is helping him." Dr. Allen's face hardened. "This is very serious, Amara. We need to do something about this." "I'm going to catch them," Amara said, her voice growing stronger. "But I need your help, doctor. I need to fake my own death. If I'm dead, they'll think they've won. I'll see who celebrates, who feels guilty, and who runs." Dr. Allen sat back, his hands clenched. He was shocked, but he could see the determination in her eyes. He knew that this was the only way for her to get justice. "You're asking me to help you fake your death," he said slowly. "It's dangerous, but I understand. You want to see the truth. Do you want to expose them?" Amara nodded. "Yes. I need to know who else is involved. I can't do this alone." Dr. Allen looked at her for a long moment, then finally agreed. "All right, I'll help you, Amara, but this has to be done carefully. We can't let anyone suspect a thing." "Right." Night Amara prepared to carry out her plan. Dr. Allen had brought a small bottle of clear liquid with him. It was a strong sedative, one that would slow her heartbeat, make her skin pale, and her breath shallow. She would look lifeless, but in reality, she would be very much alive, watching everything unfold from the shadows. "Are you ready, doctor?" Allen asked as he held the bottle in his hands. Amara nodded. "Tea, let's do this." She took the sedative, and within minutes, her body began to feel heavy, like it was sinking into the bed. Her heart slowed. Her breath became shallow. She felt her limbs go limp, but she kept her mind focused. This was her chance. The next few hours were a blur. Amara drifted in and out of consciousness, but she kept her eyes closed, pretending to be unconscious. She could hear voices outside her room, her father, her stepmother, and others. But the voice that stuck with her was Michael's. "Is she ... Is she really gone?" he asked, his voice laced with fake sorrow. Amara's stomach turned. He thought he had one. But he was wrong. Hours passed, and finally the doctor came in with the news. "Amara," he said gently, "your family is waiting outside. They believe you, single quotes, gone, but you're still alive. You have to be careful." Amara's eyes snapped open. She was still alive. And now she was ready. She would expose Michael. She would reveal the truth. And she would make sure that no one, especially Michael, would ever hurt her again as she lay there. Pretending to be dead, Amara knew one thing for sure. Revenge was coming. And when the time was right, she would take it.